eat only once in a day, how can I possibly live if I fast completely? Within my stomach burns a special fire named Vika, the fire of digestion. Agni, the fire god, descends from Lord Vishnu through Brahma, from Brahma to Angirasa, and from Angirasa to Brihaspati, and from Brihaspati to Samyu, who was Agni's father. He is the gatekeeper in charge of Nairitya, the southeastern direction. He is one of the eight material elements, and Parikshit Maharaj, he is very expert at examining things. He examined Maharaj Sivi once by turning into a dove. Agni is divided into three categories: Davagni, the fire in wood; Jatragni, the fire in digestion in the stomach; and Vadavagni, the fire that creates fog when hot and cold streams mix in one, for example, the ocean. Another name for the fire of digestion is Vrika. It is the most powerful fire that resided in Bhima's stomach. Only when I eat to my full satisfaction does the fire in my stomach become satisfied. O great sage, I might possibly be able to fast only once. So I beg that you tell me of an Ekadasi that is worthy of my fasting and that includes all other Ekadasis. I shall faithfully observe that fast and hopefully still become eligible for liberation's release. Srila Vyasdev replied, O king, you have heard from me about the various kind of occupational duties, such as elaborate Vedic ceremonies and pujas. In the Kali Yuga, however, no one will be able to observe all these occupational and functional duties properly. I shall therefore tell you how, at practically no expense, one can endure some small austerity and achieve the greatest benefit and resultant happiness. The essence of what is written in the Vedic literature known as the Puranas is that one should not eat or on either the dark or light fortnight of Ekadasi. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, Mahabhagat Puran 12, 13, 12 and 15, the Bhagavad Puran is itself the essence of cream of all Vedant philosophy, and Srimad Bhagavatam's unequivocal message is that of full surrender to Lord Sri Krishna and the rendering of loving devotional service to him. Observing Ekadasi strictly is a great aid in that process, and here Srila Vyasdev is simply stressing to Bhima the importance of the Ekadasi Vratam. One who fasts on Ekadasi saved from going to the hellish planets. Hearing Srila Vyasdev's word, the son of Vayu, Bhimsen, the strongest of all warriors, became frightened and began to shake like a leaf on a banyan tree in a strong wind. The frightened Bhimsen then said, O grandfather, what should I do? I am completely unable and ill equipped to fast twice in a month throughout the year. Please tell me of one fasting day that will bestow the greatest benefit upon me. Vyasdev replied, Without drinking even water, you should fast on the Ekadasi that occurs during the light fortnight of the month of Jest, when the sun travels in the sign of Taurus and Gemini. According to the learned personality, on this day one may bathe and perform Achman for Pratiprokshana purification. But while performing Achman, one may drink only that amount of water equal to a drop of gold, and that amount it takes to immerse a single mustard seed. Only this amount of water should be placed in the right palm for sipping, which one should form to resemble a cow's ear. If one drink more water than this, he might as well have drunk wine despite the soaring heat of summer. One must certainly not eat anything, for if he does so, he breaks his fast. This rigid fast is in effect from sunrise on the Ekadasi day to sunrise on the Dwadasi day. If a person endeavors to observe this fast very strictly, he easily achieves the result of observing all 24 other Ekadasi fasts throughout the entire year. On Dwadasi, the devotee should bathe early in the morning, then according to the prescribed rules, guidelines and regulative injunctions, and of course, depending on his ability, he should give some gold and water to worthy Brahmanas. Finally, he should cheerfully honor prasadam with a Brahmana. O Bhimsen, one who can fast on this special Ekadasi in this manner reaps the benefit of having fasted on every Ekadasi during the year. There is no doubt of this, nor should there be. O Bhima, now here the specific merit one gets by fasting on this Ekadasi. But this is going to end now. O Bhima, now here the specific merit one gets by fasting on this Ekadasi. The Supreme Lord Kesava, who holds a corn, disc, club, and lotus, personally told me, everyone should take shelter of me and follow my instruction. Then he told me that one who fasts on this Ekadasi without taking, even drinking water or eating, becomes free from all sinful reactions, and that one who observes the difficult Nirjala fast on Jesh Shukla Ekadasi truly reaps the benefit of all other Ekadasi fasts. O Bhimsen, in the Kali Yuga, the age of terror and hypocrisy, when all the principles of Veda will have been destroyed or greatly minimized, and when there will be no proper charity or observance of the ancient Vedic principles and ceremony, how will there be any means of purifying the self? But there is the opportunity to fast on Ekadasi and become free from all one's past sins. O son of Vayu, what more can I say to you? You should not eat during the Ekadasis that occur during the dark and light fortnights, and you should even give up drinking water, Nirjala, on the particular auspicious Ekadasi day of Jesh Shukla Ekadasi. O Vikodara, whoever fasts on this Ekadasi receive the merit of bathing in all the places of pilgrimage, giving all kind of charities to worthy person, and fasting on all the dark and light Ekadasi throughout the year in one go. Of this there is no doubt. O tiger among men, whoever fasts on this Ekadasi truly becomes a great person and achieves all manner of opulence, wealth, grains, strength and health. And at the fearful moment of death, the terrible Yamdutas, whose complexions are yellow and black, and who brandish huge maces and trill mystic pass ropes in the air for binding their victims, will refuse to approach him. Rather, such a faithful soul will at once be taken to the supreme abode of Lord Vishnu by the Vishnu Dutas, whose transcendently beautiful forms are clothed in gorgeous yellowish garments, and who each hold a disc, glove, conch, and lotus in their 4 hands, resembling Lord Vishnu. It is to gain all these benefits that one should certainly fast on this very auspicious and important Ekadasi, even from water. When the other Pandavas heard about the benefits to be gained by following Jesh Shukla Ekadasi, they resolved to observe it exactly as their grandfather Srila Vyasdev had explained it to their brother Bhimsen. All the Pandavas observed it by refraining from eating or drinking anything, and thus this day is also known as Pandava Nirjala Ekadashi. Technically, it is a Mahadwadasi. Srila Vyasdev continued, O Bhimsen, therefore, you should observe this fast to remove all your past sinful reaction. You should pray to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna, in this way, making our Sankalp declaration, O Lord of all the Devas, O Supreme Personality Godhead, today I shall observe Ekadasi without taking any water. O unlimited Anand Deva, I shall break fast on the next day, Dwadasi. Thereafter, to remove all the sins, the devotee should honor his Ekadasi fast with full faith in the Lord and full control over his senses. Whether his sins are equal in volume to Mount Sumeru or to the Mandrachal hill, if he or she observes this Ekadasi, the sins that have been accumulated all become nullified and are burned to ashes. Such is the great power of Ekadasi. O best of human beings, although a person should also give water and cows in charity during this Ekadasi, if for some reason or other he cannot, then he should give a qualified Brahmana some cloth or a pot filled with water. Indeed, the merit achieved by giving water alone equals that gained by giving gold 10 million times a day. O Bhima, Lord Sri Krishna has said that whoever observes this Ekadasi should take a holy bath, give charity to a worthy person, chant the Lord's holy name on a japamala, and perform some kind of recommended sacrifice. For by doing these things on this day, one receives imperishable benefits. There is no need to perform any other kind of religious duty. Observe this Ekadasi fast alone promotes one to supreme abode of Sri Vishnu. O best of the crews, if one donates gold, cloth, or anything else on this day, the merit one obtains is imperishable. Remember, whosoever eats any grains on Ekadasi becomes contaminated by sin, and verily eats only sin. In effect, he has already become a dog eater, and after death he suffers a hellish existence. But he who observes this sacred Jesh Shukla Ekadasi and gives something in charity certainly achieves liberation from the cycle of repeated birth and death and attains to the supreme abode. Observing this Ekadasi, which is merged with Dwadasi, frees one from the horrible sin of killing a Brahmana, drinking liquor and wine, becoming envious of one's spiritual master, and ignoring his instructions and continually telling lies. Furthermore, O best of the beings, any man, one paragraph. O best of beings, any man or woman who observe this fast properly and worship the Supreme Lord Jalasai, and who on the next day satisfied a qualified Brahmana with night sweets and a donation of cows and money, such a person certainly pleases the Supreme Lord Vasudev. So much so that 100 previous generations in his family undoubtedly go to the Supreme Lord's abode, even though they may have been very sinful of bad character and guilty of suicide, etc. Indeed, one who observes this amazing Ekadasi rides on a glorious celestial airplane Viman to the Lord's abode. One who on this day gives a Brahmana a water pot, an umbrella, or shoes surely go to the heavenly planets. Indeed, he who simply hears these glories also attend to the transcendental abode of the Supreme Lord Sri Vishnu. Whoever performed the Sraddha ceremony to the forefathers on the dark moon day called Amavasya, particularly if it occurs at the time of a solar eclipse, undoubtedly achieves great merit. But this same merit is achieved by him who simply hears this sacred narration. So powerful and so dear to the Lord is this Ekadasi. One should clean his teeth properly and without eating or drinking observe this Ekadasi to please the Supreme Lord Kesava. On the day after Ekadasi, one should worship the Supreme Person Godhead in his form as Trivikrama by offering him water, flowers, incense, and a brightly burning lamp. Then the devotee should pray from the heart, O God of gods, O deliverer of everyone, O Rishikesh, master of the senses, kindly bestow upon me the gift of liberation. Though I can offer you nothing greater than this humble pot filled with water, then the devotee should donate the water pot to a Brahmana. O Bhimsen, after this Ekadasi, fast and donating the recommended items according to his ability, the devotee should feed Brahmanas and thereafter honor prasadam silently. Srila Vyasdev concluded, I strongly urge you to fast on this auspicious, purifying, sin-devouring Dwadasi in just the way I have outlined. Thus you will be completely free of all sins and reach the supreme abode. Thus ends the narration of the glorious Jesh Shukla Ekadasi or Bhim Nirjala Ekadasi from Brahmat Vaivart Puran.
Yes. और भी कुछ है,
No,
वही है, पढ़िए, ये अलग है, पढ़िए।
Pandava Nirjala Ekadashi. Ekadashi is one of the regular celebrations in the Vaishnava calendar. It is observed 11 days after the full moon and 11 days after the new moon of every month. Even in the 13th or leap month called Adhikamasa or Pushottamasa, which comes every 3 years, during which no other festivals are celebrated. Ekadashi is observed. Ekadashi is known as the day of Lord Hari and is said to be the mother of devotion. Keeping the fast on Ekadashi is one of the 64 items of devotional service listed in Srila Rupa Goswami's Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. In fact, it is one of the first 10. The Nectar of Devotion, Srila Prabhupada's summary study of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu states, in the Brahma Vaivar Puran, it is said that one who observes fasting on Ekadashi day is freed from all kinds of reactions to sinful activities and advances in pious life. The basic principle is not just to fast, but to increase one's faith and love for Govinda or Krishna. The real reason for observing fasting on Ekadashi is to minimize the demands of the body and to engage our time in the service of the Lord by chanting or performing similar service. The best thing to do on fasting days is to remember the pastimes of Govinda and to hear his holy name constantly. Later in the Nectar of Devotion, Srila Prabhupada cites the observance of Ekadashi as a stimulus, udipana, for ecstatic love. Some things which give impetus or stimulation to ecstatic love of Krishna are his transcendental qualities, his uncommon activities, his smiling features, his apparel and garlands, his flute, his buffalo horn, his leg bands, his conch shell, his footprints, his places of pastime such as Vrindavan, his favorite plant Tulsi, his devotee, and the periodical occasions for remembering him. One such occasion for remembrance is Ekadashi, which comes twice a month on the 11th day of the moon, both waning and waxing. On that day, all the devotees remain fasting throughout the night and continuously chant the glories of the Lord. The importance of the Ekadashi fast is also seen in the history of King Ambarisha and the sage Durvasa. Maharaj Ambarisha had observed the fast without even drinking water up until the appointed time to break the fast, called the Ekadashi Parana. Durvasa Muni was to have returned before the time of the Parana, and because he was playing the part of a Brahman and Ambarish Maharaj the part of a Kshatriya, proper etiquette dictated that Durvasa break the fast first. However, because Durvasa did not come in time, Ambrisa was in a dilemma. If he did not break the fast punctually, the whole observance would be spoiled. At the same time, if he did not wait for Durvasa, he would be guilty of an offense because the etiquette demanded that he wait for the sage to break the fast first. King Ambarisha consulted his advisors, but none could resolve his problem. Finally, the king himself determined the solution. He would take water. Taking water would break the fast and at the same time not break it. So Ekadashi is an important observance. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally observed Ekadashi and he ordered all of his followers to do the same. And of all the Ekadashis, Pandava Nirjala Ekadashi, Bhima Ekadashi is the most special. The story behind this special Ekadashi is recounted in the Brahma Vaivar Purana. 5,000 years ago, during the time of the Mahabharata, Arjuna's elder brother Bhima admitted that he had great difficulty fasting. In those days, everyone would fast completely from all food and water. So the Vedic authority Vyasadeva gave a Bhima permission to observe the full fast Nirjala without water only once a year in the early summer and to derive the same benefit as if he had observed all the other 23 Ekadashis. Thus, devotees who are unable to properly observe Ekadashi during the year or who by chance happen to miss an Ekadashi can get the benefit of fully observing all the Ekadashis if they properly observe the Pandava Nirjala Ekadashi. Strictly observed, the fast begins before sunset the evening before Ekadashi and continues until the Parana, about the time of sunrise, the morning after Ekadashi. Many devotees try to chant at least 64 rounds on Ekadashi, especially the Bhima Ekadashi. Once when we were with Srila Prabhupada in Amritsar, Yamuna Devi read to him perform the newly published act of devotion. One such occasion for remembrance is Ekadashi, which comes twice a month on the 11th day of the moon, both waning and waxing. On that day, all the devotees remain fasting throughout the night and continuously chant the glories of the Lord. Then she asked, should we also observe Ekadashi like that? No, Prabhupada replied, we have too much service to do for Krishna. Still, Srila Prabhupada said, Ekadashi is most auspicious and chanting is more effective. And to a disciple who asked, should we chant 25 rounds on Ekadashi? Srila Prabhupada replied, why only 25 rounds? You should chant as many as possible. So the basic observance of Ekadashi as prescribed by Srila Prabhupada is to refrain from eating grains and beans and to chant as many rounds as possible. Although most devotees in ISKCON do not perform Nirjala on every Ekadashi, many do on Pandava Nirjala Ekadashi. They also try to chant at least 64 rounds, and by the mercy of Ekadashi they make great spiritual advancement. They are blessed by spiritual strength and realization, and so continue their service to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission with renewed vigor, enthusiasm and inspiration. Hare Krishna.
This is a more detailed description from the Brahma Vaivarta Puran, the story of Pandava Nirjala Ekadashi. This is from the Brahma Vaivarta Puran, the story of Pandava Nirjala Ekadashi. The description of Nirjala Ekadashi, which occurs during the month of May and June, is found in the Brahma Vaivarta Puran in the conversation between Vyasadeva and Bhimasena. Once Bhimasena, the younger brother of Maharaj Yudhishthira, asked the great sage Srila Vyasadeva, the grandfather of the Pandavas, if it is possible to return to the spiritual world without having observed all the rules and regulations of the Ekadashi fast. Bhimasena then spoke as follows: O greatly intelligent and learned grandfather, my brother Yudhishthira, my dear mother Kunti, and my beloved wife Draupadi, as well as Arjuna, Nakula, and Sahadev, fast completely on each Ekadashi and strictly follow all the rules, guidelines, and regulative injunctions of that sacred day. Being very religious, they always tell me that I should fast on that day too. But, O learned grandfather, I tell them that I cannot live without eating, because as a son of Vayudev, Samana Prana, the digestive air hunger is unbearable to me. I can give widely in charity and worship Lord Keshava properly with all manner of wonderful upacharas, but I cannot be asked to fast on Ekadashi. Please tell me how I can obtain the same merit results without fasting. Hearing these words, the grandsire of Bhima, Srila Vyasadeva, said, if you want to go to the heavenly planets and avoid the hellish planets, you should indeed observe a fast on both the light and dark Ekadashis. Bhima replied, O great saintly intelligent grandfather, please listen to me. O greatest of Munis, since I cannot live if I eat only once in a day, how can I possibly live if I fast completely? Within my stomach burns a special fire named Vrika, the fire of digestion. Agni, the fire god, descends from Lord Vishnu through Brahma, from Brahma to Agni Rasa, from Agni Rasa to Brihaspati, and from Brihaspati to Samyu, who was Agni. Father, he is the gatekeeper in charge of Nairiti, the southern eastern direction. He is one of the 8 material elements, and Parikshit Maharaj, he is very expert at examining things. He examined Maharaj Shivi by turning into dove. For further information on this incident, see A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada's Srimad Bhagavatam commentary to 1.12.20 purport. Agni is divided into 3 categories: Davagni, the fire in wood; Jathar Agni, the fire in the digestion in the stomach; and Vadavagni, the fire that creates fog when hot and cold streams mix in, for example, the ocean. Another name for the fire of digestion is Rika. It is powerful fire that resided in Bhima's stomach. Only when I eat to my full satisfaction does the fire in my stomach become satisfied. O great sage, I might possibly be able to fast only once. So I beg that you tell me of an Ekadashi that is worthy of my fasting and that includes all other Ekadashis. I shall faithfully serve that fast and hopefully still become eligible for liberation's release. Shri Vyasadeva replied, O king, you have heard from me about the various kinds of occupational duties, such as elaborate Vedic ceremonies and pujas. In Kali Yuga, however, no one will be able to observe all these occupational, functional duties properly. I shall therefore tell you how, at practically no expense, one can endure some small austerity and achieve the greatest benefit and result in happiness. The essence of what is written in the Vedic literatures, known as the Puranas, is that one should not eat on either the dark or light fortnight Ekadashis. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, the Bhagavad Puran is the essence or cream of all Vedanta philosophy, and the Srimad Bhagavatam's unequivocal message is that of full surrender to Lord Shri Krishna and rendering of loving devotional service to Him. Observing Ekadashi strictly is a great aid in that process. And here, Shri Vyasadeva is simply stressing to Bhima the importance of the Ekadashi Vrata. One who fasts on Ekadashi is saved from going to the hellish planets. Hearing Shri Vyasadeva's words, the son of Vayu, Bhimasen, the strongest of all warriors, became frightened and began to shake like a leaf on a banyan tree in a strong wind. The frightened Bhimasena then said, O grandfather, what should I do? I am completely unable and ill-equipped to fast twice in a month throughout the year. Please tell me of the one fasting day that will bestow the highest benefit upon me. Vyasadeva replied, without drinking even water, you should fast on Ekadashi that occurs during the light fortnight of the month of Jeshta, May, June, when the sun travels in the sign of Taurus and Gemini, according to learned personalities. On this day, when we bathe and perform Archamana for Pratiprakshana, purification, but while performing Ajman, when we drink only that amount of water equal to a drop of gold, or that amount it takes to immerse a single mustard seed. Only this amount of water should be placed in the right palm for sipping, which one should form to resemble a cow's ear. If one drinks more water than this, he might as well have drunk wine, despite the soaring heat of summer in the northern hemisphere and cold in the southern hemisphere. One must certainly not eat anything, for if he does so, he breaks his fast. This rigid fast is in effect from sunrise on the Ekadashi day to the sunrise on the Dvadashi day. If a person endeavors to observe this great fast very strictly, he easily achieves the desired result of observing all 24 other Ekadashi fasts throughout the year. On Dvadashila, the devotees should bathe early in the morning. Then, according to the prescribed rules, guidelines, and regulated injunctions, and of course, depending on his ability, he should give some food and water to worthy brahmanas. Finally, he should cheerfully honor prasadam with a brahmana. O Bhimasen, one who can fast on this special occasion, Ekadashi, in this manner, reaps the benefit of having fasted on every Ekadashi during the year. There's no doubt of this, nor should there be. O Brahma, now hear the specific merit one gets by fasting on this Ekadashi. The Supreme Lord Keshava, who holds a conch, discus, club, and lotus, personally told me everyone should take shelter of me and follow my instructions. Then he told me that one who fasts on this Ekadashi without taking even drinking water or eating becomes free of all sinful reactions, and that one who observes the difficult Nirjala fast on Jeshta Shukla Ekadashi truly reaps the benefits of all other Ekadashi fasts. O Bhimasena, in Kali Yuga, the age of pearl and hypocrisy, when all the principles of the Vedas will have been destroyed or greatly minimized, and when there will be no proper charity or observance of the ancient Vedic principles and ceremonies, how will there be any means of purifying the self? But there is the opportunity to fast on Ekadashi and become free of all one's past sins.
O son of Vayu, what more can I say to you? You should not eat during the Ekadashis that occur during the dark and last for light fortnights. And you should even give up drinking water on the particularly auspicious Ekadashi day of Jeshta Shukla Ekadashi. O Vrikodar, whoever fasts on this Ekadashi receives the merits of bathing in all the places of pilgrimage, giving all kinds of charities to worthy persons, and fasting on all the dark and light Ekadashis throughout the year in one go. Of this there is no doubt. O tiger among men, whoever fasts on this Ekadashi truly becomes a great person and achieves all manner of opulence and wealth, gains strength and health. And at the fearful moment of death, the terrible Yamdutas, whose complexions are yellow and black and who brandish huge maces and twirl mystic pasha ropes in the air for binding their victims, will refuse to approach him. Rather, such a faithful soul will at once be taken to the supreme abode of Lord Vishnu by the Vishnu Dutas, whose transcendently beautiful forms are clothed in gorgeous yellowish garments and who each hold a disc, club, conch, and lotus in their forehands, resembling Lord Vishnu. It is to gain all these benefits that one should certainly fast on this very auspicious and important Ekadashi, even from water. When the other Pandavas heard about the benefits to be gained by following Jeshta Shukla Ekadashi, they resolved to observe it exactly as their grandfather Srila Vyasadeva had explained it to their brother Bhimasena. All the Pandavas observed it by refraining from eating or drinking anything, and thus this day is also known as Pandava Nirjala Ekadashi. Technically it is a Mahadvadashi. From that day onward, Bhimasena began observing this Nirjala Ekadashi, which became famous as Pandava Nirjala Ekadashi or Bhimseni Ekadashi. Srila Vyasadeva continued, O Bhimsen, therefore you should observe this important fast to improve all your past sinful reactions. You should pray to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna, in this way, making you, O Lord of all the Devas, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, today I shall observe Ekadashi without taking any water. O unlimited Ananta Deva, I shall break fast on the next day, Dwadashi. Thereafter, to remove all his sins, the devotee should honor this Ekadashi fast with full faith in the Lord and with full control over his senses. Whether his sins are equal in volume to Mount Sumeru or to Mandarachala hill, if he or she observes this Ekadashi, the sins that have been accumulated all become nullified and are burned to ashes. Such is the great power of this Ekadashi. O best of human beings, although a person should also give water and cows in charity during this Ekadashi, if for some reason or other he cannot, then he should give up qualified Brahmana some cloth or a pot filled with water. Indeed, the merit achieved by giving water alone equals that gained by giving gold 10 million times a day. O Bhima, Lord Shri Krishna has said that whoever observes this Ekadashi should take a holy bath, give charity to a worthy person, chant the Lord's holy names on a japmala, and perform some kind of recommended sacrifice. For by doing these things on this day, one receives imperishable benefits. There is no need to perform any other kind of religious duty. Observance of this Ekadashi fast alone promotes one to the supreme abode of Shri Vishnu. Oh, best of the Kurus, if one donates gold, cloth, or anything else on this day, the merit one obtains is imperishable. Remember, whoever eats any grains on Ekadashi becomes contaminated by sin and verily eats only sin. In effect, he has already become a dog eater and after death he suffers a hellish existence. But he who observes this sacred Jyeshta Shukla Ekadashi and gives something in charity certainly achieves liberation from the cycle of repeated birth and death and attains to the supreme abode. Observing this Ekadashi, which is merged with Dwadashi, frees one from the horrible sin of killing a Brahmana, drinking liquor and wine, becoming envious of one's spiritual master, and ignoring his instructions and continually telling lies. Furthermore, O best of beings, any man or woman who observes this fast properly and worships the Supreme Lord, Jalshai, he who sleeps on water, and who on the next day satisfy a qualified Brahmana with nice sweets and a donation of cows and money, such a person certainly pleases the Supreme Lord Vasudeva. So much so that 100 previous generations in his family undoubtedly go to the Supreme Lord's abode. Even though they may have been very sinful or bad character and guilty of suicide, etc. Indeed, one who observes this amazing Ekadashi rides on a glorious celestial airplane to the Lord's abode. One who on this day gives a Brahmana a water pot, an umbrella, or shoes surely goes to the heavenly planets. Indeed, he who simply hears these glories also attains to the transcendental abode of the Supreme Lord, Shri Vishnu. Whoever performs the Shraddha ceremony to the forefathers on the dark moon day called Amavasya, particularly if it occurs at the time of a solar eclipse, undoubtedly achieves great merit. But this same merit is achieved by him who simply hears this sacred narration. So powerful and so dear to the Lord is this Ekadashi. One should clean his teeth properly and without eating or drinking, observe this Ekadashi to please the Supreme Lord Keshava. On the day after Ekadashi, one should worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his form as Trivikrama by offering him water, flowers, incense, and a brightly burning lamp. And the devotees should pray from the heart, O God of gods, O deliverer of everyone, O Hrishikesha, master of the senses, kindly bestow upon me the gift of liberation. Though I can offer you nothing greater than this humble pot filled with water. Then the devotee should donate the water pot to a Brahmana. O Bhimsen, after this Ekadashi fast and donating the recommended items according to his ability, the devotee should feed Brahmanas and thereafter honor prasadam silently. Srila Vyasdeva concluded, I strongly urge you to fast on this auspicious, purifying, sin-devouring Dwadashi in just the way I have outlined. Thus you will be completely freed of all sins and reach the supreme abode. These stories have been summarized as they are found in the celebrated book Ekadashi.
Ekadashi, the appearance and purpose of this special day. This article was written in 1956 by Shri Naveen Chandra Chakravarti, a disciple of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. There are many stories of Ekadashi in the Puranas, but most explain the material benefits and blessings one gets from observing Ekadashi. This article, based on the conversation between Srila Vyasdev and Jaimini Rishi, gives the real spiritual reason for following the vow of Ekadashi as emphasized by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita and later by Srila Prabhupada. Many devotees are very inquisitive about the appearance of Sri Ekadashi and about her special characteristics. Therefore, I am presenting this description from the 14th chapter of the Padma Puran, from the section entitled Kriya Sagar Sara. Once the great sage Jaimini Rishi said to his spiritual master, O Gurudeva, previously by your mercy, you described to me the history of the Ganga river, the benefits of worshipping Vishnu, the giving of grains in charity, the giving of water in charity, and the magnanimity of drinking water that has been used to wash the feet of the Brahmanas. O best of stages, Shri Gurudev, now with great enthusiasm I desire to hear of the benefits of fasting on Ekadashi and of the appearance of Ekadashi. O Gurudeva, when did Ekadashi take birth and from whom did she appear? What are the rules of fasting on the day of Ekadashi? Please describe the benefits of following this vow and when it should be followed. Who is the utmost worshipable presiding deity of Shri Ekadashi? What are the faults in not observing Ekadashi properly? Please bestow your mercy upon me and tell about these subjects, as you are the only personality able to do so. Srila Vyasdev, upon hearing this inquiry from Jaimini Rishi, became situated in transcendental bliss. O Brahmana sage Jaimini, the results of following Ekadashi can be perfectly described by the Supreme Lord Narayana, because Shri Narayana is the only personality capable of describing them in full. But I'll give you a very brief description in answer to your question. At the beginning of the material creation, the Supreme Lord created the moving and non-moving living entities within this world made of 5 gross material elements. Simultaneously, for the purpose of punishing the evil human beings, he created a personality whose form was the embodiment of the worst kinds of sin, Papa Purusha. The different limbs of this personality were constructed of various sinful activities. His head was made of the sin of murdering a Brahmana. His 2 eyes were the form of drinking intoxicants. His mouth was made from the sin of stealing gold. His ears were the form of the sin of having illicit connection with the spiritual master's wife. His nose was of the sin of killing one's wife. His arms the form of the sin of killing a cow. His neck was made of the sin of stealing accumulated wealth. His chest of the sin of abortion. His lower chest of the sin of having sex with another's wife. His stomach of the sin of killing one's relatives. His navel of the sin of killing those who are dependent on him. His waist of the sin of egotistical self-appraisal. His thighs of the sin of offending the Guru. His genitals of the sin of selling one's daughter. His buttocks of the sin of telling confidential matters. His feet of the sin of killing one's father. And his hair was the form of all sorts of less severe sinful activities. In this way, a horrible personality embodying all sinful activities and vice was created. His bodily color is black and his eyes are yellow. He inflicts in extreme misery upon sinful persons. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, upon seeing this personality of sin, began to think to himself as follows: I am the creator of the miseries and happiness for the living entities. I am their master because I have created this personality of sin who gives distress to all dishonest, deceitful and sinful persons. Now I must create someone who will control this personality. At this time, Shri Bhagavan created the personality of Yamraj and the different hellish planetary systems. Those living entities who are very sinful will be sent after death to Yamraj, who will in turn, according to their sins, send them to an appropriate hellish region to suffer. After these adjustments had been made, the Supreme Lord, who is the giver of distress and happiness to the living entities, went to the house of Yamraj with the help of Garuda, the king of birds. When Yamraj saw that Lord Vishnu had arrived, he immediately washed his feet and made an offering unto him. He then had him sit upon a golden throne. The Supreme Lord Vishnu became seated upon the throne, whereupon he heard very loud crying sounds from the southern direction. He became surprised by this and inquired of Yamraj, from where is this loud crying coming? Yamraj in reply said, O Deva, the different living entities of the earthly planet systems planetary systems have fallen to the hellish regions. They are suffering extremely for their misdeeds. The horrible crying is because of suffering from the inflictions of their past bad actions. After hearing this, the Supreme Lord Vishnu went to the hellish region to the south. When the inhabitants saw who had come, they began to cry even louder. The heart of the Supreme Lord Vishnu became filled with compassion. Lord Vishnu thought to himself, I have created all this progeny, and it is because of me that they are suffering. Vyasadeva continued, O Jamini, just listen to what the Supreme Lord did next. After the merciful Supreme Lord thought over what he had previously considered, he suddenly manifested from his own form the deity of the lunar day Ekadashi. Afterward, the different sinful living entities began to follow the vow of Ekadashi and were then elevated quickly to the abode of Vaikuntha. O my child Jamini, therefore the lunar day of Ekadashi is the self-same form of the Supreme Lord Vishnu and the Supersoul within the heart of the living entities. Shri Ekadashi is the utmost pious activity and is situated as the head among all vows. Following the ascension of Shri Ekadashi, that personality, who is the form of sinful activity, gradually saw the influence that Shri Ekadashi had. Thus he approached Lord Vishnu with doubts in his heart and began offering many prayers, whereupon Lord Vishnu became very pleased and said, I have become very pleased by your nice offerings. What boon is it that you want? The Papa Purusha replied, I am your created progeny, and it is through me that you wanted distress given to the living entities who are very sinful. But now, by the influence of Shri Ekadashi, I have become all but destroyed. O Prabhu, after I die, all of your parts and parcels who have accepted material bodies will become liberated and return to the abode of Vaikuntha, the spiritual domain. If this liberation of all living entities takes place, then who will carry on your activities? There will be no one to enact the pastimes in the earthly planetary systems. O Keshwar, if you want these eternal pastimes to carry on, then you please save me from the fear of Ekadashi. No type of pious activity can bind me, but Ekadashi only, being your own manifested form, can impede me. Out of fear of Shri Ekadashi, I have fled and taken shelter of men, animals, insects, hills, trees, moving and non-moving, living entities, rivers, oceans, forests, heavenly, earthly and hellish planetary systems, demigods and the Gandharvas. I cannot find a place where I can be free from the fear of Shri Ekadashi. O my master, I am a product of your creation, so therefore very mercifully direct me to a place where I can reside fearlessly. Vyasadeva then said to Jamini, after saying this, the embodiment of all sinful activities, Papa Purusha, fell down at the feet of the Supreme Lord Vishnu, who is the destroyer of all miseries, and began to cry. After this, Lord Vishnu, observing the condition of the Papa Purusha with laughter, began to speak thus, O Papa Purusha, rise up, don't lament any longer, just listen, and I'll tell you where you can stay on the lunar day of Ekadashi, on the date of Shri Ekadashi, which is the benefactor of the three planetary systems. You can take shelter of foodstuffs in the form of grains. There is no reason to worry about this anymore, because my form as Shri Ekadashi will no longer impede you. After giving direction to the Papa Purusha, the Supreme Lord Vishnu disappeared, and the Papa Purusha returned to the performance of his own activities. Therefore, those persons who are serious about the ultimate benefit of the soul will never eat grains on Ekadashi. According to the instructions of Lord Vishnu, every kind of sinful activity that can be found in the material world takes its residence in this place of grains foodstuff. Whoever follows Ekadashi is freed from all sins and never enters into the hellish regions. If one does not follow Ekadashi because of illusion, he is still considered the utmost sinner. For every mouthful of grain that is eaten by a resident of the earthly region on Ekadashi, one receives the effect of killing millions of Brahmanas. It is definitely necessary that one give up eating grains on Ekadashi. I very strongly say again and again, on Ekadashi, do not eat grains, do not eat grains, do not eat grains. Whether one be a Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra or of any family, he should follow the lunar day of Ekadashi. From this, the perfection of Varna and Ashram will be attained, especially since if one even by trickery follows Ekadashi, all his sins become destroyed and he very easily attains the supreme goal, the abode of Vaikuntha.
Additional information. From the above article and story, we can understand that Ekadashi is a form of Lord Vishnu. And by observing the Ekadashi vow, it not only decreases the amount of sin we imbibe, but it also eats up sinful reactions to help pave our way back to the abode of Lord Vishnu, Vaikuntha. This is also why Ekadashi is called the mother of devotion. It helps remove the obstacles on our path of devotional service to the Lord. Ekadashi generally falls on the 11th day after the new moon and the 11th day after the full moon. Eka means one and Dasi is the feminine form of Das, which means 10. Together it means 11. Only occasionally may it fall on a different day. So it is on these days that devotees and devout Hindus will follow the vow of Ekadashi and not eat any beans or grains or products with such substances in them. Thus, the diet is expected to be simple and plain as part of the mood of renunciation and preferably only once in the day if possible. Other recommendations include that the food should be made of vegetables, fruit, water, milk products, nuts, sugar, and roots that are grown underground, except beetroot. Restrictions include spinach, eggplant, asparagus, and sea salt, but rock salt is alright. Since there are 12 months in a year, with 2 Ekadashis in each month, there are 24 Ekadashis in each year. Each Ekadashi has a name that are Utpanna, Mokshada, Safala, Putrada, Shattila, Jaya, Vijaya, Amalaki, Papmochani, Kamat, Varuthani, Mohini, Apara, Nirjala, Yogini, Padma, also known as Devshayani, Kamika, Putrada, Aja, Parivartini, Indra, Papankusha, Rama, and Haribodhini, Devothani. Occasionally there are 2 extra Ekadashis that are happen in a lunar leap year, which are Padmini and Parama. Each Ekadashi day has particular benefits and blessings that one can attain by the performance of specific activities done on that day. By engaging in the extra study to learn what these are, one can derive even more benefit from each particular Ekadashi. Books devoted to Ekadashi are available that contain such information, so we will not include it here. However, reading the glories of each Ekadashi day along with all the names of these days will also achieve a similar goal of observing the Ekadashi vow. This also means that we are encouraged to increase our spiritual activities that day, which are centered around the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. Charity, especially to advanced devotees and preachers of the Dharma, or directly engaging in activities of Krishna consciousness, deity worship, chanting the Purusha Sukta hymns, or other spiritual activities on Ekadashi are also highly recommended and brings great spiritual benefits to the performer. It is said that even if one mistakenly misses the observance of an Ekadashi, he or she may make up for it by observing it the very next day on Dwadashi, and then break one's fast from grain on the next day, Triyodashi. One may also observe the special fast on Nirjala Ekadashi. This is also called Bhima Ekadashi. This is because the Pandav brother known as Bhima was so strong and had such a voracious appetite that he could not observe Ekadashi twice a month. He could not fast because he was too hungry. So Lord Krishna told him to merely observe 1 Ekadashi a year, which is the Nirjala Ekadashi. Nirjala means no water. So he had to observe at least 1 Ekadashi a year, and on that day he had to abstain from not only beans and grains but from all food, even water. So devotees who miss an Ekadashi day often observe a complete fast from all food and liquids on the Nirjala Ekadashi, which is usually sometimes in June, and thus make up for whatever was missed. However, this is a very potent Ekadashi, so a complete fast on this day gives one who observes this many pious credits. Sometimes there is a day called Mahadvadashi. This is when Ekadashi is astronomically combined with Dvadashi, or the 12th day of the full moon or new moon lunar cycle. This is called a pure Ekadashi, and the observance is often started the evening before Mahadvadashi. and through the next day with the basic Ekadashi fast. Breaking the Ekadashi fast on the next day with some foodstuffs made from grains is usually done 2.5 hours or shortly thereafter from the time of the sunrise. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela 15, 9 and 10, Sri Chaitanya begs his mother to follow Ekadashi, as was expected of all his followers. And in the purport to this verse, Srila Prabhupada explains that even though devotees eat food cooked for and offer to Lord Vishnu, prasad, which is spiritually potent and free from all karma, even on Ekadashi, a devotee does not eat even Mahaprasad that has grains in it, even though it can be saved for the next day. In this way, by the observance of the special Ekadashi day and its special fast, a person can accelerate their spiritual growth and awareness and free themselves from negative karma that will only further bind them to the continuous rounds of birth and death. Yes, Maharaj. Maharaj, same information on all the links, Maharaj. It's the same information on all the links. We have from 5 to 6 links. See, Maharaj?
खत्म होने वाला है पूजा शांति से।
Pandava Nirjala Ekadashi comes in the month of Jeshta in Shukla Paksha. The following pastimes of the Pandava Nirjala Ekadashi is narrated in the Brahm Vaibhav Purana. Let us understand the importance of Pandava Nirjala Ekadashi. Troubles of Bhimsena in following Ekadashi. Once the younger brother of Yudhishthira Maharaj, Bhimsena, approached his Pitama, the great sage Vyasdeva, and asked, without obeying the rules of Ekadashi, is it possible to go back to Godhead? You are very intelligent, and my elder brother Yudhishthira Maharaj, my mother, my wife, and my other brothers, Arjuna, Nakula, and Sahadeva, all of them obey the rules of Ekadashi very perfectly. But I am not able to follow the rules of Ekadashi, as my whole family is religious, so they all tell me to obey the Ekadashi. But O Pitama, I want to tell you that I can't stay without eating. My stomach digestion fire is so huge that I cannot stay without eating. I can give as much as needed in donations. I can worship Lord Krishna with any condition, but I cannot obey the rules of Ekadashi. So please have mercy on me and enlighten me that how can I get that same fortune without obeying the rules of Ekadashi. When Vyasdeva heard all the questions of Bhimsena, he replied, 2 Ekadashis are observed in a month, one in the Shukla Paksha and one in Krishna Paksha. One who does not follow both these Ekadashis, he can never go back to the Godhead. Rather, he is being punished in hell. If you want to go back to Godhead and don't want hellish punishment, then you will have to follow both Ekadashi. When Bhima heard this answer from Vyasdev, he became utterly disappointed and again pleaded his condition to Vyasdev that he could not stay without eating, as his stomach had a special fire in his stomach, which was Vrika Agni. There are 3 types of fire: Deva Agni, Dava Agni, which is in the wood and burns down the entire forest; Vadvagni, by which the fog and steam are being created; Jitagni, which is also called Vrikagni, which present in our stomach; And if we see the Bhagavad Gita, Bhim was also known as Vrikodar, means one who eats very much. So when Bhima heard that there was no eating on days in a month, then he got frightened and requested Vyasdeva that please tell me the solution to my problem. Please tell me how I may get the fortune of going back to Godhead. I can obey only one Ekadashi in a year. Please tell me a day in an Ekadashi by which I can get the advantage of following all Ekadashi. Now Srila Vyasadeva replied, the Kali Yuga humans are very lazy in their responsibility, in penance and the devotion. Therefore, scriptures say that we should strictly obey both the Ekadashis, Shukla and Krishna Paksha in a month. Srimad Bhagavatam also states that we should surrender unto Krishna, and by observing Ekadashi, we can enhance our devotion for Krishna. Ekadashi helps us surrender to Krishna. Therefore, obeying Ekadashi is paramount. One who obeys Ekadashi never has to go to lower planets. When Vyasadeva thus described the importance of Ekadashi, Bhima, the great warrior, by whose name alone great kings and warriors would begin to trembled like a leaf of banyan tree by a strong wind. He was fearful and again requested Vyasadeva, I cannot obey two Ekadashi in a month. Please tell me the solution by which I can get the advantage of all Ekadashi. Vyasadeva's advice to Bhima. Hence, Srila Vyasadeva gave him a solution. If one observes the Ekadashi of Shukla Paksha in Jeshta month without even drinking a drop of water, then he will get the same advantage that you are seeking. On this day, a devotee should rise early in the morning. He should take a bath, and after doing Achman, he should engage himself in devotional activities. Achman should equal to taking water equal to the size of a mustard seed, and if someone takes more water than that, then it is almost equal to drinking liquor. For sure, one should not eat anything on this day. If anything is eaten on this day, then the fast will break. This fast will start with the sunrise of Ekadashi and end with the sunrise of Dvadashi. If one obeys this Ekadashi very strictly for the pleasure of Krishna, then one will get all the advantages of all Ekadashi of a year. On the day of Dvadashi, a devotee should wake up, and after taking a bath, he should worship the Lord, and after donating to the Brahmanas, he should break his fast. Undoubtedly, one who obeys this Ekadashi with all rules will surely get the advantage of all Ekadashi of a year. Lord Krishna has declared, surrender your all unto me and obey my teachings. This type of man never has to see Yamdutas. Rather, always Vishnu Dutas come for Vaikuntha to take this type of man, who will take him to Vaikuntha by a transcendental Viman. If you want to get this fortune, then you will have to obey this Nirjala Ekadashi strictly. When Vyasadeva thus described the importance of observing Nirjala Ekadashi, all the Pandavas pledged to observe this Ekadashi without drinking water. Srila Vyasadeva advised him, if you want to be safe from all the sins and want to be safe from all hellish punishment and go back to Godhead, then obey this Ekadashi. Before obeying this Ekadashi, take the resolution in the morning that today I am going to obey this Nirjala Ekadashi. Pray to Krishna and begin the fast after taking blessings from Lord Krishna. If one observes this Ekadashi and if he has sins equal to Sumeru mountain, then all that sins will convert into ash. On this day, after a bath, one should chant the holy names on chanting beads. If someone is doing this, he does not need to follow any religious rituals. Many types of donations are prescribed, which get destroyed with time. But if someone donates on this Ekadashi, it will never be destroyed. On this day, one should donate cows, gold, water, etc. But if someone is unable to donate these items, he should donate a kalash filled with water and clothes to a qualified Brahmana. If one engages in these kinds of donations, then he gets billion times advantage. If anyone eats anything on this day, then he is actually eating all sorts of sins. and that is also equal to eating the flesh of a dog. And he gets the hellish punishments till many birds. And if someone follows the fast of this Ekadashi, then many of heinous sins will get destroyed, like to kill Brahmana, telling a lie to a spiritual master, to not obey the orders of a spiritual master, drinking liquor. All these types of heinous sins get destroyed who strictly follow the fast of this Ekadashi. One who obeys this Nirjala Ekadashi, and with that, if he devotedly worships Shri Krishna, then his 100 generations go back to Godhead. And for that person, the Vimana will come from Vaikuntha to take him back to Godhead. O Bhimsen, after obeying this Ekadashi, one should, according to his strength, donate to qualified Brahmanas, then he should take some food. I request that you obey this Ekadashi fast. There is no fast that purifies and does well to that extent as this fast does. By obeying this fast, all your sins will be destroyed and you will return to Godhead. Benefits of observing Nirjala Ekadashi. In the Padma Purana, it is related that Lord Keshava, who contains Shankh, Chakra, Gada and Padma in his hands, has told me personally that the advantage which we get by obeying all Ekadashi of a year, that eligibility we can get by obeying Pandava Nirjala Ekadashi. In Padma Puran, it is also said, it is also told that Srila Vyasadeva has told Bhimdev that if someone does not obey the Nirjala Ekadashi, then without any doubt he should be considered as a sinner, corrupt and suicidal. How to observe this fast? This day is very special and very dear to Krishna. That's why on this day devotees should accept only devotional activities which are a helping hand of us to take us near to Krishna. Activities are more chanting of the holy names, reading scriptures, association of devotees, attending Aarti in temples, Ratri Jagran, whole night Katha, Kirtan the whole night. So we can make our whole day Krishnamay. But we should avoid and completely stay away from non-devotional activities. On this day, we may feel weakness and we will remember all the verses of the Bhagavad Gita, songs or poems related to water. But after leaving all the non-devotional works, we should only hear the Krishna Katha. We should remember Krishna. As much we sleep extra, we can avoid it. And we should also avoid useless talks. We should inspire ourselves and others to devotion. We can try to take a holiday from our job so that we can make our whole day Krishnamay. If one feels more weakness, so he can stay in AC. But we should constantly chant the holy names. And if we will have to take Chandamrita or we have to do Achman, then as Vyasdevji told, we should take water as equals to mustard seed, not more than it. Queries related to Nirjala Ekadashi. When should we start the fast? At many places it is said that before sunrise or Brahma Muhurta, we can take water till 2:30 o'clock. But after this, we'll have to continue our Nirjala Ekadashi fast. Question 2. If one will obey this Ekadashi, is there a need to obey all other Ekadashi? Yes, we will have to obey all 24 Ekadashi of a year. But on this day, we will have to follow it as Nirjala. Nirjala means without water. So we should not eat or drink anything today. We should take attention to one thing, that sometimes we see that we are observing Nirjala fast. And if any devotee breaks the Nirjala fast, then we should pray to Krishna that you have me strength by which I am able to obey this fast. If by observing Nirjala Ekadashi, our arrogance is increasing and we are finding faults in devotees, then our obeying fast is wasteful. So we should be saved from these mistakes. This is the day of mercy and we have to collect grace on this day by doing Vaishnava service, by chanting the holy names of the devotees who are having Vigraha at their homes. They should give bath to Vigraha and decorate them, and they should worship them. If there is no Vigraha at home, then one can perform worship on the lamination of God and can make a full day as Krishnamay.
श्री गुरु चरण पद्मा केवल भक्ति सद्मा बंधु मोई सावधान मते जहाँ प्रसादे भाई ये भवतरिया कृष्ण प्राप्ति है यहाँ हईते गुरु मुख पद्म वाक्य चिते ते करिया क्या आरना करिह मन आशा श्री गुरु चरणे रति ऐसे उत्तम गति ये प्रसादे पुरे सर्वासा चक्षुदान दिलो दे जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु से दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशिता प्रेमा भक्ति जहाँ हईते अविद्या नाश जल्दी दो ना
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु आपका हो गया
माँ भक्ति जहाँ हईते अविद्या विनाश जाते वेद गाय जहाँ चरिता श्री गुरु करुणा सिंधु अधम जनार बंधु श्री गुरु अधम जनार बंधु लोकनाथ लोकेरा जीवन लोकनाथ लोकेरा जीवन हा हा प्रभु करो दया देहो मोरे पद छाया हा प्रभु करो दया देहो मोरे पद छाया एबे यस भूसुक्ति भुवना शिला प्रभुपाद पतित पावना शिला गुरुदेव कृष्ण जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे इधर आइए बाहर तुलसी महाराज ने भी ला करते हैं जय श्री राज बाबा जय कृष्ण हाँ ये सब ले जाओ पोछा लेके आओ मुझे ना इसका अभी जरूरत पड़ेगा इसको खाली करके ठीक है और इसमें पानी चाहिए एक टोकरी में